Hey everybody, I'm JJ, you're watching Reality Survival. So today we're going to talk about the EMP Shield. As you guys know, I'm an affiliate with the EMP Shield. I think it's a pretty cool product for those people who've got their preps pretty squared away. You know, I wouldn't recommend this for the new prepper or somebody who's just getting involved in it. Before you go and get these kinds of items like the EMP Shield, you should really make sure that you've got your food and your water and your power generation and your medical and your self-defense and all those kinds of things taken care of, okay? But once you've got those things pretty well squared away and you think that you're doing all right, then the EMP Shield is a pretty great little tool. It's fairly easy to install in your home to be able to help protect some of the electronic devices that you have in your home or your shop or your solar panels or your, whatever the case may be, your generators, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go the 10 dumbest things said about EMP Shield, because I get a lot of comments on them. A lot of people think they understand how they work and all that kind of stuff, and they really don't. And that's okay, because it's kind of a complicated subject. It's not that big of a deal, but these are things that I see on a pretty repeating basis. So the first one is, and I don't know that there's really any order to them, but the first one on my list here is there's no way to test if they really work. It's a huge scam that EMP Shield is just betting on the fact that there won't ever be an EMP and they're going to make a bunch of money and nobody will ever know. Until it's too late, and then it would be chaos, and nobody would be able to find out where they're at or whatever. Okay, well that's silly, because the EMP Shields are tested by a third party called Keystone Labs. You can look it up. Keystone Labs is a electromagnetic pulse. They have the ability to produce an actual electromagnetic pulse locally. And they do a lot of testing for the military and government projects and all that kind of stuff. And they have tested the EMP Shield, and it meets the military specifications for an electromagnetic pulse. What they do, it's pretty crazy. What they do is they actually build a fake house, in their facility, and they put the wiring in it and all that kind of thing. And they, have a panel and everything. And they hook up the EMP Shield to it, and then they zap it with this pulse, and they see if it can drain off the drainage and all that kind of stuff before it ruins the devices and stuff that they have hooked up to it. It's really pretty cool. Yes, there is a way to test if they really work, and they do work. The thing is that what makes them work is that they're very, very fast, okay? And that, we're talking about like billionths of a second fast, right? The switches and the electronics that they use within them are super sensitive, so that they can detect an over voltage in the system and drain it off before it builds up and creates enough heat to damage the electronics. And it's mostly the electronics that are really sensitive, like microchips and little digital parts and pieces and all that kind of stuff. So this number two, that kind of leads into number two, is a lot of people will say that the wire is too thin for it to be able to work. And what you're misunderstanding about the whole process is when you think about your house and all that kind of stuff, there's wires that run through your house and everything, all that kind of stuff. And as this field comes across, as the pulse, the first pulse, the E1 pulse comes across, it's the fast one, right? What it does is, as it crosses those copper lines within your house, it induces an additional current that wasn't there previously. That's how it creates. It's just a general property of induction, really, and so it induces a current into these lines. And what the EMP Shield does is it monitors the amount of voltage within those lines, and if it sees this spike, and again, it's doing it within billionths of a second, then it immediately drains it off before it has the opportunity to create heat within those circuits. And it doesn't, when you have solid copper wiring moving through your system and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't take it's not that there is so much voltage, it's that the voltage comes in faster than like a normal surge protector would be able to deal with. So it has everything to do with speed and not so much to do with how much current there is, because there isn't actually as much as you would think, because the current is only built up within the wires of the home. If you're following me, it's not like, you know, the whole structure doesn't induce current as the wave comes over it. It's just the electric wiring that's in the house. So hopefully that makes sense. But that's the reason that it doesn't have to have, you know, some big like 0 gauge wires or something along those lines. It's just it's made to reduce the overage, because the wires are already capable of handling a certain amount, right? And it's that overage that it's trying to push off. So hopefully that makes sense. Some people say it's a scam and does nothing at all, and that is also not true. And I know this because the government uses these. All right. Again, they're tested to military specs. It's a wide open process. It's not a scam. Let's see. Number 4 is there have been no, it's kind of funny that people say this. There's been no high altitude nuclear tests done to know if a nuke detonating up in the atmosphere will even cause an EMP. It's a fake thing. It's fake science. It's like the flat earthers, you know, like they're saying like, oh, this doesn't actually do this. Well, we do know that it does this. We know that it does this because of the Starfish Prime test that was done, when was it, 59 or somewhere in the 60s? I don't remember exactly, but somewhere in that time frame. And then, which was quite a ways off the coast of Hawaii. I don't want to say 800 miles or so, something like that. I'm just going off the top of my head. It's been a while since I looked at the paperwork, but it disrupted street lights and different things like that in Hawaii from even where that test was done. So they were able to gather some data in there, but there's also been Chinese tests, there's also been French tests, there's also been Russian tests. There have been multiple tests that confirm that it actually happens. So you can look that up. The information is out there. I've seen it in the past, and so I know that it's an actual thing. All right. Number 5 is there's no use buying one because the power grid will be down, so you still won't have power to your house. Okay, well, let's think about that. So that is true. The power grid will be down, and you won't have electricity coming into your home. However, if you have an EMP shield, then you can hook your generator up to your house, and you can use your generator to then power the lights and the well and all the other electric things that are in your house. The microwave or whatever, you know, the refrigerator, that's a huge one, right? That's a really important one in a grid down situation, to be able to keep your food cool. You'll still be able to operate all of those devices as long as you have an alternative source of power. So that's where it becomes upon you as a prepper to make sure that you have a whole house generator. That's what I just installed in my house. And I also have another 12,000 watt portable generator. I also got a smaller generator. It could be solar panels. It could be whatever, you know, wind power. It could be whatever is good for your situation. Make sure that you have an alternate source of power that you can run in to power your house. And then, depending on how well prepared you are and what your circumstances are, then you can still have power. Okay, so that is an important one. Okay, number 6 is for vehicles. There won't be any gas being made because of the power outage that caused by an EMP. So you'll only get to use your vehicle for whatever gas is left in your tank. I've heard that multiple times. And that's true, there won't be any more gas, but there will be lots of cars that won't run, and you'll be able to get gas out of those cars. And if you are a prepper and you have thought ahead about these things, then you can also store gas at your house. I'm actually working on a tank. This is the stand to a 250 or so gallon farm tank, agricultural tank, right? So having a vehicle, and they're super easy to install on vehicles, the EMP shields are. Having a vehicle during a really serious disaster situation like an EMP going off is a huge force multiplier. Now, maybe you'll only be able to use it for a few weeks to a month or whatever the case may be, but so what? That's better than having to walk all that time, right? I mean, it's, and not every car is going to be affected. Let's be clear about that. It's somewhere, I think the second EMP commission estimated that it was like 60 to 70% of cars would have some form of difficulty. Some of them would still run, some of them wouldn't, some of them would totally die. It all depends on their shielding and how they're built and all that kind of stuff. Because there is a certain degree of shielding built into cars, believe it or not, to keep the radio from whining and all that kind of stuff. But so it all just depends. But having a vehicle that runs for, even if it was the first couple of weeks, or even if you didn't have any gas prepped and you kept a full tank, right? That 300 miles or however far your vehicle goes on a tank of gas, that's a whole lot better than walking that 300 miles. So there you go. Number 7 is I have solar panels. Will they work after an EMP without an EMP shield? No. So if you have solar panels on your house, you need to also put an EMP shield on there, because those panels have a ton of wires that run in them, very small, thin wires that run in them, and they actually induce a lot of current, and they will probably blow out those diodes on the back of those panels. So you need to make sure that you have, and EMP Shield does design an EMP Shield for solar panels specifically. Just like they have one specific for your house, made to go on, like a 200 amp panel. They also have a specific one if you're going to do a whole house generator. That's a separate one. They have separate ones for your vehicles. So it depends on your application. You take a look at their website and see which one you need. But if you don't have some sort of protection on your solar panel system, it will go down, unless you have those panels packed away in a Faraday cage or something along those lines. All right, so if you've got an active system, you need to have an EMP shield hooked to it. Let's see here. Number 8, no country will nuke the USA because they're afraid of the response. Now there's a little bit of credence to this one. We have all heard the idea of mutually assured destruction, right? However, our country is currently being run by a person who probably doesn't dress himself in the morning. Okay? We saw what happened in Afghanistan. We saw how that was handled. Are you confident that there would be a response? Because I'm not. I'm not. And this isn't fear-mongering or anything like that. This is just me analyzing the situation that we were faced with, and I'm not sure that Beijing Biden, the connections that he's got to China and all that kind of stuff, that he would respond. I don't know. So I don't know if that one really applies in today's day and age. Let's see. Number 9 is, if everyone else's power is out and I have power, then people will come and they'll see me and they'll come and try to take over your house and kill you for the fact that you have power. It's going to get a little bit crazy if there was an EMP. And again, like I've told you guys millions of times, I think that this is a unlikely thing to happen. Statistically speaking, I think it's one of the more unlikely things that we could think of to happen, okay? However, the possibility does exist. And if it did, if we're going to talk hypothetically about it like we are, then you have to understand that people are going to be coming to your house no matter what. If your power is out or if it's up, it doesn't make a difference. Now, does that mean that you should use it in an irresponsible way and, blare out a bunch of loud music and all those kinds of things? No, of course not. You should try to be as responsible as you can. You should try to muffle the sound as much as you can and all that kind of stuff. But you damn sure should have your home defense squared away and be ready to repel anybody who comes anyway. Even if you decide not to buy an EMP shield, and if you decide not to have a home generator, and if you decide not to do whatever other things that are recommended, you should be ready to protect yourself at all times, regardless. But would you rather have the ability to make power and have to try to defend yourself, or would you rather not have power and then still have to try to defend yourself? Because for me, I would much rather have power so that I could keep food, so that it would last longer, so that I could stay clean and healthy. So, you know, all of those reasons that just make sense. All of the things about modern society and technology that make America a great place to live. I want to have as many of those luxuries as possible during a bad situation. That's just me. Maybe you want to live like garbage, and maybe you want to live like you're in a third world with no country, but I don't want to do that. So that's why I have them. And let's see. Number 10 is the only way to protect an electronic item is to have it in a Faraday cage. That I get that over and over again. And that's just simply not true. Okay, there is other ways to protect electronic devices, and it is with a device like an EMP Shield. There are also other hardening methods that also work, depending on what the device is and all those kinds of things. There are many facilities within the military infrastructure that are hardened, and so yes, there can be things done to protect electronics aside from just putting them in a Faraday cage. Does a Faraday cage work? Yes, it does. They work great, and they're great for smaller things. I've showed you guys how to build them in the past and all that kind of stuff. I think they're a good option for protecting certain essential things that you don't want to go bad, you know, and I've got videos on that. You can take a look at it. But there is more than one way to skin that cat. So anyway, guys, that's the 10 dumbest things that I've heard said over and over about the EMP Shield. If you think that you want to buy one for your house, and you've got your other prep squared away and all that kind of stuff, and you're at a point where you're ready to do it, then if you use the code RealitySurvival at checkout, and or if you use the affiliate link in the description below, it'll save you $50 per unit. Now, I will say that right now, I think the prices are only around, after you use the discount, it's like $320 or something like that. But with all of the supply chain nonsense that's going on and all that kind of stuff, and inflation and everything like that, the prices might not stay the same. So I would recommend go ahead and get it, and that way you've got it and you're covered, you know. If you, let's say you put one on a couple of vehicles and one in your house, you know, you're looking at about $1,000. Compare that to the cost of an AR, another AR that you didn't need, or another pistol that you didn't need, or another, you know, whatever. And it's not really that bad, all right? And if you're looking at just one, you're looking at about $320 or so, something like that. And let me, I'll grab you the ones. I've got some here to show you. There's two different styles, depending on the kind of box that you have. This one is if you've got a box that is flush mounted, then you can run this out, and this part will just show you that your light's on and it's protected, and this part will be hidden behind the panel. And then this one is your basic one where it's a box that is visible and it's all mounted on the outside. So, and the car ones look just like that too. So anyway, I just got mine in for my whole house generator. I'll be doing a video on that pretty soon, showing exactly how that gets installed. I've already shown you how the ones on my trucks, both of my trucks were installed, so you can see that as well. Again, it's not for everybody, but if you got most of your stuff squared away, if you're doing pretty good on prepping, you're making some advances, then it's something to think about. I will also recommend for those new people who are watching, go back and watch some of the other videos I've done. If you go to AmericanPreppingAcademy.com, that is my website, and you can go through, and there is a gear review section, and then there's also on the topics There's 2 different pages that basically have the same information in them on EMP Shield. And so it talks about a lot of the different misconceptions, what an EMP is, how it's generated, how it works, all 3 different waves of it. Goes really in depth into all that stuff. I've also got some videos talking with the manufacturer about these, the creator of these, how they work, what they do, all that kind of stuff. Again, it's all out there. Take a look. You can go to their website. You can take a look at their test results. You can do all that stuff. It's a legit thing. So, anyhow, guys, that's it. I think I already said the 6 P's once. So, I'm out of here. I'll see you in another video shortly. Bye.